Hi, this is Megan Hennigan presenting an overview of problem-based learning. Problem-based learning, or PBL for short, is a learner-centered approach to teaching that empowers students to research, integrate theory, and apply knowledge to develop solutions to a given problem. Like many other learning theories, PBL is grounded in the philosophies of John Dewey, who believed that education begins with the curiosity of learners. PBL has three main characteristics that differentiate it from other learning approaches. First, the learning begins with the presentation of an ill-structured problem that has no single correct answer. Second, the teacher takes on the role of a tutor to the students. They guide the learning process but do not provide the information needed to solve the problem. Finally, the learning occurs in a facilitated problem-solving setting, which encourages collaboration and self-directed learning. Problem-based learning is not a new concept. In fact, it began developing in the 1980s. At that time, scientific and medical understanding grew, resulting in the need to change the traditional methods of instruction. Patient diagnosis relied heavily on hypothetical and deductive reasoning skills, which was perfectly aligned with the PBL approach. Towards the end of the 1900s, PBL was adopted widely across North America and Europe for medical education. In 1993, there was a meta-analysis of 20 years of data related to PBL. They concluded that PBL-trained doctors had equal outcomes on conventional tests of knowledge as compared to traditionally trained physicians. However, there was a preference towards problem-based learning methods among students. Starting in the early 2000s, PBL began expanding beyond medical schools. It started being implemented in elementary, middle, and high schools, in addition to undergraduate and professional schools. Although PBL has data to support its effectiveness, there are still problems associated with its implementation. The first challenge PBL faces is having teachers switch roles into a tutor, manager, and facilitator of learning rather than a provider of knowledge. They need to step away from giving students information and instead guide them to the information they need. With that shift to teaching roles, students need to shift their role as well. In order to promote self-directed learning and problem-solving and collaboration skills, they need significant scaffolding to get competent. The last challenge is specifically to elementary, middle, and high schools that are state-funded. These schools have mandated curriculum constraints and do not have the necessary time to commit to a full PBL learning approach. Even with the challenges problem-based learning faces, the future of PBL is bright. Students today have instant access to massive amounts of information that was never thought of decades ago. Future generations need to develop these higher-order thinking, self-regulated learning habits, and problem-solving skills that are necessary for solving the problems that exist in the world today and the future. The information presented was from the Foundations of Learning and Instructional Design Technology textbook. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video and gain a better understanding of problem-based learning.